So now in this video we're going to focus on the actual CAD setup, dimensions, and standards that are requested by this client. So you'll see here this is basically what our surveyor has given us. We have XREF'd our kitchen plan, and now it's time to do the rest of the setup. So I've provided these boxes inside the CAD model space that are used to center the drawing and used to set them up in the viewport. So we can start with the site plan. We want to center the line work of the site plan to the box, which I have already done. And with that said, once you go into the layout tab, you can just zoom the object, adjust your scale, and your plan will be centered. There are easier ways to do this. I just use this for consistency. So the things we want to dimension here on this particular plan for the site plan is we want to dimension the order box in relation to the pay window, which would be the first window in the drive-thru, and then we want to measure this pay window in relation to the presenter window. So to do this, we want to measure through the center of the lane here. So what I've done to do this is I've done an offset, and my distance will be between the curb and the lane. So I'll offset the curb. Now this gives me line work that I can reference. So now I can measure from here to the arc. I can measure the arc length. I can measure the arc length to the window, and then window to window on center. So once we have that complete, it would look something like this. Center of box to arc length, arc length, arc length to window, window to window. The other thing we want to measure is we want to measure the menu box here, and the order box here in an X by Y fashion in relation to the building. I chose this corner. It doesn't necessarily have to be from either corner, just needs to be in relation to the building. So we have two X placements, two Y placements, and that's sufficient. Now we can move on to the floor plan. Once we get over here to the floor plan, you'll see we have everything on. So what I like to do is go to our layout tabs, come over to our floor plan. Now what you can do here to set this up is zoom object. We have the plan centered now, and then we can choose our best fitting scale, which happens to be 1/4 inch, and lock our viewport. If we repeat that process when centering the kitchen plan, reflected ceiling plan, then once we've done that, all these plans will stack, and as our client flips through the pages, the plan never moves, but the information showing will change, and that looks really good. So what I want to do here is basically get an X by Y measurement of every room or open area, especially these vestibules, and these little kind of main service areas where they're taking orders and, you know, providing the service. So we also want to make sure that we dimension out X by Y any of the ADA looking restrooms, so they'll typically have this grab bar, and once that's all set and complete, it should look like this. So you'll see X by Y, and then to make it even cleanlier, we center the text as best we can in between line work. We picked up the restrooms, and we've dimensioned everything else we needed to in this plan. So it looks nice and clean, and now we can move on to our kitchen plan. So for the kitchen plan, we're displaying a lot of the same stuff as we do for the floor plan, the addition of the actual kitchen equipment. So you'll see we have all our XREF'd kitchen equipment in. I've already centered the drawing to the viewport doing the zoom object and adjusting my scale, so my scale is set. So now we just need to do the dims that are specific for the kitchen. The dims that are specific for the kitchen are mostly just some clearance dimensions. So we want to dimension clearance between fixtures here, clearance between equipment and tables, any clearance that looks like it's getting really tight, and just maybe a general one over here. So when that's complete, we should see something more along the lines of this, which again, we have just our couple dimensions here, nothing major, just showing clearance. And that's it for the kitchen. Pretty straightforward and simple. Next, we'll move over to the reflected ceiling plan. For the reflected ceiling plan, this is the easiest, or it should be the easiest when it comes to setup, because we don't need to dimension anything. We don't really need to call out anything more specific than what the surveyor has given us already. So as long as the surveyor has not messed with the layer locks and all the information is on its correct layer, this information should all display properly here. All the layer locks have been preset and predetermined by our internal staff in our template, and this template is given to our surveyors. So with that said, reflected ceiling plan, it looks like I don't see any floor plan items showing up, so I think we're good and we can move over to the elevations. So elevations, again, another straightforward thing. What we want to do is make sure that we're labeling wall materials and the roof materials. So any finished material in general, we just want to label. So brick, we have brick representing that hatch. Metal, there is no hatch. Another thing they want us to do is label the pay window as well as the presenter window. That is client specific, and we will need to do that. Moving to the next view, any entry door, we want to go ahead and just label above that door entry. This way they know that this isn't a service door like these doors we'll see in this view here. So they know this is customer accessible. These doors, not so much. With that said, we have our labels in place. We're labeling the ladder, again, our materials, and now we would want to run our dims. So our dims, their main area of focus are going to be the height to the bottom of this awning. That tells them clearance of vehicles. We'll give them building overalls, and then what I also like to do is give them heights for all the doors that are entry doors for customers. This way they can, determine if they need to raise that door height or not. A client-specific height that they ask for is the height to the opening for the pay and presenter windows. So when that's done, we should have this. Our dimensions for the pay and presenter windows, our dimension for the awning and overall. This is a little more information on the presenter windows. We're double dimensioning here, but we're looking at a different view, so we leave that information in just in case our client happens to look at this view and wants this same information. So again, basic dims, dimensioning doors, dimensioning some heights and overalls. With that said, it looks like our dimension segment is done, and now we just want to double check and do a final pass and make sure that the title block information is correct. So the scale factor on the title block matches the scale factor of the drawing per sheet. We want to make sure that our initials are in the QA box. So if you've done the QA, you'll put your initials here. And then we want to make sure that we have the store number, city, street filled out, address filled out, and that information should be provided to you when you receive the files for the QA. If you have any further questions on CAD setup for this program, please feel free to reach out to the CAD manager, assistant CAD manager, or even the PM of this program, and we will definitely work our best to get your questions answered. Thank you very much.